Not every video you see out there comes directly from the source, but this one comes straight from the NCSBN. 3 things you need to know about the Next Gen NCLEX. Let's talk about it. First off, the NGN is the latest version of the NCLEX exam, coming this spring, April 1st, 2023 to be exact. I did my research, and I'm going to ease your nerves and show you the similarities and differences, as well as how you should be studying. Now, what is the same? Let's start with that because there are a few things that will cross over from the current NCLEX and you will see in the Next Gen NCLEX. Number 1, computer adaptive testing. Every time you answer an item or a question on the NCLEX, the computer re-estimates your ability based on the previous answers and the difficulty of those items. Essentially, the answers for each question determine the difficulty of the next question you're going to get. Number 2, duration. You have 5 hours to complete the exam. This is the same from the current NCLEX and will be carried over. Number 3, the special research section. Beginning in July 2017, NCSBN started the special research section as part of the NCLEX administration. It is administered following the regular exam, just a little pop-up on the screen that tells you you're about to participate in the research section. In simple terms, this is an additional set of questions on your exam to help further develop the NCLEX for later years, and most importantly, does not count towards your NCLEX score. Now, all of these types of questions will remain the same as what we know the NCLEX to be. I'm sure we're all used to these by now. You've been tested in nursing school using these styles, so they're pretty standard. I want to emphasize that all of these are fair game for the NGN. You may see them, you may not, so try to practice them if you haven't already. Now, what is the difference? This is what everyone has been buzzing about, so let's go through it. 2 words, partial scoring. This is such a benefit to Next Gen. It used to be an all or none, right or wrong, so thank you for partial scoring. For Next Gen, partial scoring is broken down into 3 different types. We have 0 to 1 scoring, earn 1 point for endorsing each correct response, earn 0 points for endorsing each incorrect response. In simple terms, this is just partial credit. Your incorrect responses do not count against you. We have plus and minus scoring. Points are earned by identifying and selecting the correct options. By contrast, points are subtracted when incorrect options are selected. So, the total score for that question is the sum of all your correct and incorrect responses. If you get more incorrect than you do correct for that question, it just goes to 0. You're not going to get negative points for that one. An example of this are matrix questions. I will go over this one later. And then we have rationale scoring. This is applied to questions that assess paired information. For example, a nurse must perform action X because of Y. To demonstrate a full understanding of the concept, correct options for both parts of the paired information must be selected to receive 1 point. Another difference are the lab ranges. Reference ranges when referring to lab values may be provided. And I say may be provided because the NGN can give you a question that states, the patient's potassium level is elevated, and you will be expected to know what elevated means in general. You still need to know what high and low ranges do in the body and how you as the nurse will respond. Now let's talk about case studies. This was not seen on the NCLEX and will be added to the Next Gen. There are 3 case studies composed of 6 questions each that measure each of the 6 domains of the clinical judgment model. If you don't know what the 6 domains are, I'm going to drop them right here. This kind of reminds me of ADPI. We're assessing, intervening, and evaluating the outcome. And lastly, the new question types, what everybody wants to know. The NCSBN has approved 5 new question types that measure nursing clinical judgment. The first, extended multiple response, aka SATA questions. It is similar to our current NCLEX SATA questions, but with more options to choose from, and some where you can only select a certain amount of options, like you can only select 3 or 4 or 5. Extended drag and drop. This is also like the current NCLEX, but not all of the response options this time may be required to answer the question. There may be more response options than answer spaces. And then we have close drop-down questions, basically a drop-down list in a question where you choose words or phrases within a sentence, a paragraph, a cause and effect, etc. Enhanced hotspot or highlighting questions. You are given a ton of information and you have to select words or phrases within a text to answer that question. And lastly are matrix and grid questions. Now, matrix grid questions are kind of interesting. They have different rows and columns, and you have to select one or more answer options for each row or column. An example of this are these interventions anticipated, non-essential, or contraindicated based on what the question gives you. Okay, we made it through the hard part. Now, how do you study? And my answer will always be the same. You study the what and the why you see things, why you do things. A huge PSA, nothing has changed in terms of content. You focus on your critical care topics and what you as the nurse will prioritize in a critical situation. I like to tell my students it's all about training your brain, how to recognize signs and symptoms, what is expected and unexpected after giving a medication. The NCLEX loves to see what you will do as the nurse, not anyone else. You can answer any question no matter what the style, from the 6 domains, the matrix questions, the multiple choice, all of the content is the same. If you don't know where to begin, these are some important general topics to get you started, but I highly suggest 2 products of mine. My comprehensive nursing school bundle, which covers a ton of content seen on my own exam, and thousands of others. Remember, the content is the same. The only difference is how it is asked. And number 2, I have a 5-week NCLEX study calendar to help you organize your studying, and it comes with 16 tips to dissect NCLEX style questions. So don't let the changes of this exam get to you, and good luck to all of the Next Gen test takers.